So I figured out how to attach this shroud thing. It's these screws. The screws were already in place when they were shipped. Had to remove the screws and then place the shroud, then put the screws back in. It does have a place to route this all the wires. If somebody online was asking about the length of the fiber cable, the fiber cable is very long. This though is very short. You can't get can't get this thing very far away from this. And then again, there's not a lot of room here. So if you're planning on expanding this, you probably have to rewire everything. But the fiber cable is long, so that's probably the most expensive part. This part slips right in here. Then it stops on this. Apparently is to hold your workpiece. These are clamps. We're gonna see how well that works. It kind of seems like a janky setup, but we'll see how it works, and then we'll see if we can find something better. So I guess we can take a tour first. So import is your files, and then technology. I'm not really sure what this is. I mean, yeah. And then it says G code. That's what's in there. Run, cut, engrave, and then state. And we looked at this one the other day. This is going to be your air, fan, and then up here is FTC. That's your height controller. So if you want to calibrate your height controller, it's FTC calibrate. And then here's settings. So this is again language. This is, I guess, the theme, like the color you want, font, advanced. I'm not really sure what to do there. About user asks you for a login. I think there's in the manual they give you, it has that. Alright, so we're hooking up the gas. We're using compressed air for right now. This is the 5-stage filter that I have it hooked up to, 3 with moisture filter. So I'm hoping that removes all the moisture from the line, from the air. Right now it's set at 100 psi or about. I have hooked up to a pneumatic tubing. This is 6mm tubing. That's what the one coming out of the back is. I've hooked it up from there to a valve, and then this is the regulator that it comes with. But I have tested it, and I don't know if it's something that I did or it's just a cheap valve. But when I turn it on, it leaks like crazy. Did all of those connections the same way, so I'm not sure if it's what it is. But I think I'm just going to take this out since I already have a regulator. I'm just going to do that. So I took the regulator off and no more leaking. So we're going to see if the air goes through. Alright, so we're back on the state screen here. And we'll turn on air and see what happens. Sounds like it's going. Yeah, let's get ready to do a test cut. So I have it all set up, have the air, everything, and I did a couple of test cuts. I'm going to kind of reenact this for y'all because I didn't film it. So I went into, I believe it's this one, and open. Yeah, so it's just a circle. I figured this would be a good kind of test cut. It just came, this file was just on there. So a little bit about how I figured out how to make this thing kind of run. It wasn't very intuitive. So first off, we have our jog, and then let's come out there. So, and then you can see the red light on there. I calibrated that the way they said to center it. It worked fairly well, except for trying to figure out how to make the actual laser fire was an issue. And so I'll show you how to kind of do that. And so so this is gas. You see that gas? You turn the gas on. So again, so you see the red laser there. Turn it. So it's gonna get loud, but you turn the gas on, then shutter, or if you need the gas on, but shutter will turn the red laser off. So it's off now, and that's then you hit laser. If you hit laser, it will actually shoot the laser. But it did before. Oh, there it goes. So then if you hit gas, and then gas is to turn the gas on. Play, that will cut the circle at where we're at. So let's see what happens here. And as you can see, it didn't cut through. That's because of the speed that it's cutting at. So this was set for a certain depth, I believe, and it's not cutting it. So I first tried changing these speeds, and it doesn't work. But if we cut again, it will cut it out. Or it did last time. There we go. But I think, let's see if we can change something. Alright, so we finally got this working. There were some issues, there were some issues. One, if your laser is ever kind of cutting just very partial, like it just goes maybe one step and then stops, and then returns, it's probably because your air got disconnected or something else got disconnected. I guess it sends some kind of feedback to the machine that says something's not working, and it just kind of stops and goes back. It doesn't tell you an error on the controller at all. It just it just kind of stopped. So it took a while to figure that one out. We finally got it cutting. So messing with the speeds, and that's what we got. So we're gonna do some new test cuts, trying to really figure out what our settings should be to cut this. So these ones are circles that I've done it at different rates. So this is 1.8 meters per minute, 1.85 meters per minute, and 1.9. I got it to cut yesterday about 1.75. So we're gonna see if we can get a smoother cut. See where that kind of limit is. So let's try these out. Alright, then jog over, find a free spot. Try here, and now you'll see if so that one put one out. I was 1.8. Now we're gonna try 1.85. I think right there is a good spot. So let's try it. Let's try. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it mostly just kind of comes off in your fingers. That was 2.2. It usually makes a thunk sound as soon as it comes out. Maybe this is the right setting. Yeah, it just barely didn't cut. It's hanging there. This might be just right. Let's see. So here is the results. I think that the 2.4 meters per minute, it was a little rough compared to the 2.3. 2.3 seemed to be the smoothest edge. So we can try some other cuts with that. Again, we're running about 145 psi, which is the max, I believe, for this tubing. It doesn't say on here, but yeah. So we're gonna try some test cuts on some more of the same exact material. So here's what we're gonna be cutting. Let's see how it goes. Oh, something stopped. They didn't like something. That's what happened before with the gas. It Yeah, I have no idea. Let's try it again. See what happens. Yeah, stopped again. I have no idea. So I figured out one of the problems why this didn't cut very well is because when I was doing these test cuts, I made a bunch of files. The last one I did was 2.5, but we didn't get there. And the setting was still at 2.5 when I made this file, so it was cutting at 2.5 instead of 2.3. So now we have fixed it to 2.3, and we're going to try it again. Alright, so on this one, the outside didn't cut as well as it should have. So we're going to try another one. I have changed just the outside cut to 2.1. So let's see what happens.
So at this point, we're getting a lot of FTC errors, and as you can see, this one's going to stop. I believe it's because it doesn't like going over areas where there's a gap in the metal, so it doesn't think that so it knows that there's not metal there, and it will stop. But in these cuts here, it's starting, and then there's an FTC error, so it's not liking whatever distance there is, or it's not reading it properly, and it keeps erroring out, and we just have to keep restarting. This happens a lot. I'm not sure if it's a setting that needs to be changed or what. There's going to be another part of this where I do change a lot of the height settings, and it helps, but it's still an issue.
Success! So this is the back side. You see the dross here. Again, the interior was 2.3, exterior was 2.1. I think we're gonna make another test cut. What might be happening is that the processing time from going around, it might have slowed down or something, versus when it does the circle, it doesn't really have to slow down. So I think that's what we might be seeing here. So I'm going to do a different thing, but I'm going to try it all at 2.1, see what happens. So here are the results of that cut. As you can see, kind of where it was going faster, there's less dross. Where it's really slowed down to make a lot of those corners, there was a lot more dross. Again, kind of circles, less dross. And then when it came back to the same spot, a lot more. What I might try is height, changing height, see what that does. I think we have the speed kind of dialed in, but let's see what happens if we start changing heights. So here are the test cuts. So this one was at 0.3 millimeter height. This one at 0.4 millimeter height. And this one at 0.5 millimeter height. It looks like 0.3 is going to be the cleanest. It's probably something with the focal length that we can do to make it bit different. The problem with the 0.3 is that I keep getting FTC anomaly errors. I think that that's like that it's having trouble detecting the height at such a low. The 0.2 I tried really wouldn't even work. It would just kind of air out every time it tried. So yeah. So these two are both at 0.3 millimeter height. This one is at a rate of 1.5, but with 70% power, and this one was the one that was at 2.1, I believe, at 100% power. So dross looks actually a little better on this one, but the details, there's a lot less blowout on the 70% power one. So I almost forgot to tell you how thick this is, so you have an idea of what I'm working with. So this is, there you go, 0.05 millimeter stainless steel. So it's pretty thin. So again, what you're probably going to be cutting is a little different, but yeah. So I think that's going to end this for this video. Again, I think this was probably this setting or this setting. This one or this one is probably the best results. Again, that's 0.35 millimeter height, a 1.7 meter per minute cut speed with a 75% power. So we'll keep testing, see what else we can do. So stay tuned.